Welcome and join us on our journey as we interview everyday people and ask them that very question of who am I?
Who am I? Who am I?
Who am I? I'm the last child of Sister Laura Benson. Last of 5 on my mother's side, and up until recently I was the last of 19 on my father's side. I hear it may be slightly higher now. I'm old enough to remember protesting outside Parliament against former Prime Minister Pintard, the founder, one of the key founders of our country. And I'm young enough to know that, Pop Smoke wrote "Welcome to the Party." Hit the boys up and we go skate in the Rari. I'm young enough to know that. And also, you don't pick a beef with a writer who's lyrically blessed and who could end up dissing you even at a Super Bowl. I'm a public servant. I'm the leader of the FNM and the leader of the opposition, and I'm a community worker. That's my passion, and politics really just provided a larger platform for me to carry out my community work. From I was very young, I was an activist. When I was a student at the College of the Bahamas, I continued the same activism that was started from I was a high school student living in Mount Pleasant. And every university I went to, I was engaged in student politics, whether it was at the College of the Bahamas, now UB, or when I went to Tuskegee University as student body president, or when I went to McGill in Canada. I've always been engaged in addressing social, cultural, political issues. And so when I returned home with a purpose, and that is to work with other highly motivated Bahamians who are interested in changing the country. Being the father of Michaela Pintard, it's an incredible joy. You never experience this kind of love until you have a child, in my estimation. And so I'm amazed that God has blessed me with this wonderful young lady, and I'm elated. It puts pressure on me to want to be better, live better. She should have confidence in herself and know that she has the capacity as a lady to accomplish anything that a man is able to accomplish. But most importantly, she should find her purpose early and make sure that her purpose is impactful on other person's lives, and that purpose can also pay the bills. And even more important than having confidence in herself, she should trust God. I mean, because wherever human limitations exist, when God kicks in, you could roll an army out. I think early in life, I had a sense that I could have an impact nationally and possibly globally, but I was slow in finding my stride. I came, from a single parent home. I was suspended twice in school, expelled on the 3rd time. My father provided for me, but didn't have a tremendous amount of time for me to develop a close relationship. I felt that there were so many different things that would have prevented me from being as impactful as I had a sense I could be. And so I was slow finding my stride, and to realize no matter what the background anyone has, the truth is they could still find and realize their purpose. I remember vividly working with a group of young people in Mount Pleasant Village. All of us pretty much were in high school, and we wanted to have lights on the park, and the Member of Parliament at that time said it was not possible. And so we made a decision as teenagers that we were going to vote him out. The only problem was we couldn't vote. And so we had a kind of a protest sitting in the meeting with the chairs turned backwards, so our back was to where the speaker was. So for me, that's my earliest memory of defiance. And I was not alone. I was not unique. The other young people who were a part of that youth association had similar commitments. And during my journey, I keep referencing that point. What were some of the lows? I believe at the end of the day, I felt as if, you didn't have the right surname. I came from a public school. I went to William Phipps, then I went to S.E. McPherson and A.F. Adley. And so by the time I arrived at the College of the Bahamas, I arrived with no GCEs, C and above. And I did well on the mock exams, though, but I failed the actual exams. And so I was in classes after I came through college prep with students who had 8 and 9 GCEs, and most are all with A's and B's. And so I went through a period of like having a self-esteem challenge, and so I think that was one of the greatest lows. In terms of the highs, I believe speaking at what was one of the largest rallies calling for stiffer penalties for rape offenders on sudden recreation ground, speaking to, I believe it may have been around 10,000 persons. Certainly was a massive crowd, and that was important to lend my voice alongside iconic Bahamians in again, protesting against the laws not being adequate to deal with rapists. To trust God. I mean, every difficulty I've had in my life has been related to the times when I decided I'm going to walk out of the will of God or not abide by those principles that create some guidelines, some boundaries within which you should behave. And so I would say I can tell you about the value of education, and that's important. I can tell folks about the importance of financial security and preparing early so that you are personally empowered financially, and that's important. But ultimately, I believe that the guidance of God trumps everything. Sorry for using the word trump. I believe one popular opinion that I may have that a lot of people disagree with. I believe that men are called in many ways to lead, but I have found out that whenever I've listened to my wife on a number of important issues, she's been more consistently correct than I've been. And so I would say to men in general, while God has called us to lead, one of the best ways to lead is listen to excellent advice. And I can tell you, oftentimes, the daughter in your life, the woman in your life, whether it's your wife, your spouse, or your mother, or the advice they provide is absolutely invaluable. Well, I'm working with residents in Marco City and the wider Grand Bahama. We are putting together a building that will teach many areas in technology, radio, television, coding, how to build a website and apps, putting in a recording studio, a radio and television studio, and of course providing a reading room for children and computers for entrepreneurs and students. So that's an exciting project we're working on in Grand Bahama. We believe that phones are not just for making calls, but it could be a way of you working your computers, not just for surfing and FaceTiming with others, but it's about creating economic opportunity. So that's an important project for us. And then of course we continue to run social relief programs. We believe that people would rather make their own money to take care of their needs, but until that's possible, we have an obligation to assist them. And so that's my passion. So in politics, if you ask me what is of greatest interest to me, it's community work. All of the ceremonial stuff you do because it's an obligation, but I feel in the other stuff, being on the ground, in the community, making a difference.
If you like what you saw, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and join us on our journey as we create more content on our way to getting our first play button.